What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if it's your first time. The channel name is Desire is Fire. On the good piece of news that I want to bring to you today, again this time I found a couple different articles on goodnewsnetwork.org. But the first one was that there has been a boy who just graduated, or a young man who just graduated from high school. And his last year there, he had moved a ways from where he was before, but he was determined to go his senior year to that same school to graduate with his friends. So he always took the bus. He got up super early. I want to say that it said 4 a.m. in the morning. And on his last day, it might have been on his last day for graduating, he was leaving from the bus with his cap and gown. And the bus driver snapped a picture of him and posted it on social media, just showing how determined he was and that he's going to be successful. And actually a radio show host happened to see this photo and invited the young man in for his show and talked to him, and he ended up giving him a brand new car and free driving lessons. So that was really touching to read about. And in another story, there was a man who saw a 4-year-old boy that was hanging off of a ledge. I want to say it was like the 4th story up in France, and without thinking, he just took off to save this boy. He jumped and was scaling from balcony to balcony, and he saved this boy before the fire brigade could even get there. Now, he moved to France from West Africa, but he hadn't gotten his citizenship. The president of France granted him citizenship as soon as he found this out. He gave him a medal for bravery, and he also offered him a job with the fire brigade right after that. So just two really awesome stories to read about. And as I always say, if you want to go to goodnewsnetwork.org, there's always good stuff there to read about. So I definitely recommend checking it out. And to close this, before I start the subject of my video, I want to read a quote that was on there. And I'm going to cheat and look over here to the side because I can't memorize this full quote, but it was really awesome. President JFK was born 101 years ago today, and they put a quote that he said on there. And it says, "The problem of the world cannot possibly be solved by skeptics or cynics whose horizons are limited. We need men who can dream of things that never were." So I thought that was really good. You know, I've heard a story before where he asked somebody, I don't remember who it was that he asked, but he said, "What will it take to get man to the moon?" And that man replied to him, "The will to do it." And so there's so much in our willpower, in our minds, whatever we want to accomplish, we can get done. We just have to know what we want and know that we can get it and go after it all the way, to have faith in it. So I hope you guys enjoyed that quote and those good stories, again from goodnewsnetwork.org. And today what I want to talk to you guys about is what your habits are, or where they are leading toward. If you have gained momentum toward reaching your goal and you're recognizing all these signs and these reminders that are kicking in, and you're noticing the progress, but then suddenly it stops, or it slows down, or it reverses, look at what you are doing possibly and see what your habits may be, or where your mindset is. Has that changed? It's not 100% guaranteed that that is the cause. It may have been that you thought you were on this great path and you reached a dead end. That doesn't mean you're not going to reach your goal. It just means you have to find a new path. It means that path that you were on just unfortunately wasn't going to lead to that, if that's a point that you get to in that. But you're still closer to the goal than you were before. You still started going down a path instead of waiting, procrastinating, or whatever, and then starting down that same path that would have ended up being a wrong path, and you would have found it out later on. Then you can start on a new path. But if that's not the case, what have your habits been currently, and what were they before, when you were really getting going on your goal? You noticed the momentum going, you noticed all these signs that were reminding you, Whether you saw brochures of the house or heard people talk about the trip you're thinking about or the destination, or you saw the car that you're wanting, you saw it constantly. Whatever it is, whatever the reminders were, if they have slowed down or stopped or anything, are you still doing the same things that you did at the beginning? Is your mind still in that same mindset? Are you still working just as hard? Or are you rationalizing? Rationalizing is an extremely dangerous thing to do, I think, because that's when you give yourself an out. You give yourself an excuse to slow down on things. Or, yeah, I've been working really hard, but I've just been too busy lately. There's always time. No matter what, you can always find time. So just be determined. Be so determined to do all of the stuff that you think if you slip up, that's it. You don't reach your goal. That doesn't mean if you do slip up that does mean that that's it. So there's kind of like a fine line here, but if something like that does happen, don't suddenly get so discouraged that you just give up on yourself either. Like, oh, well, I slipped up that one time. You know, I got too busy with this or distracted with that or this came up. Man, I didn't do it once or didn't do it all the way, so that was it. I'm not going to make it. That doesn't mean that. But don't rationalize. Don't think of any way of, okay, I'm not going to be able to do this today, so I'll double up tomorrow. If anything, I still wouldn't recommend this, but if anything, do double the work before this comes up. Don't say you're going to do it after the fact, but still try doing it consistently just as much as you always are. But look at your habits. Look at what you're spending your time on, what you were doing, what you might be doing differently. And if things are going great, if they haven't slowed down or stopped, then that's awesome. Keep it up, or even find a way to improve, because there's almost always a way you can improve and still even speed that up and attract it that much faster. But just always look at your habits. Make sure that they are on the same frequency as the goal that you're reaching toward. And you can definitely attract it and just feel it. You can feel it and notice all of these signs, and you'll recognize all of this. So I hope you guys found this video useful or informative. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I look forward to seeing you guys on the next video. Thanks again for watching.